Yes.
There we go.
Oh my word! I'm a bit
Showing
scared then.
showing our age there a bit.
Yeah,
I
can't
was
work a thing.
uh, I was really worried you didn't know you were live. So when you were like talking into the phone, going, "Oh, it's not going well." This. I was like, wanted to text saying, "You're on, you're on, you're
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah. I knew I was on. Just couldn't work it.
you're on live TV. Please do not swear."
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
How are you?
how are you? Like the beard.
It's just a few weeks of not shaving. That's it.
What are you thinking of going with that till you play again?
What do you reckon? Could do. Could leave it.
Keep it trimmed there and just go
Grow
that.
the hair as well. Get the mullet going. Mullet and tash.
The thing is, if you
Um,
commit to when we play again, you don't know when that's coming, do you?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. We were texting earlier. We've not spoken to each other for a while, have we?
I reckon the last time I saw you face to face was the night we won in Cape Town,
Yeah.
because you had a scan the next morning and you flew home that night, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a while ago. That.
Ages. How long ago
Yeah.
does that Cape Town test feel?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Feels a while ago. Great test
Yeah,
match though. Great test.
one of the best.
So what have you been up to?
Um, Obviously not a lot really, just staying home and it's four and a half weeks since we came back from Sri Lanka now, which sort of it's weird because it's gone quick, but then feels ages ago. I can't
Yeah.
really sort of I'm sure everyone else is feeling a bit the same. That's not working is I'm never quite sure what day it is.
Yeah.
The weekends, the week, it sort of blends into one. The thing I'm obviously trying to train a little bit. We've been on the Peloton bike, doing a bit of road running to try and keep some load through the body. But the thing I'm finding the trickiest, so to speak, is not really having like last summer I had an Ashes goal to aim for. So it's like get fit for this sort of time.
Yeah.
So I'm someone I feel like I need aims and guidelines really for my mind to motivate me, and I'm probably I need to sort of get an aim really.
Yeah. I've found that hard as well because if you don't have that sort of, like you say, that end sort of goal, and you feel like the training's a bit aimless, a bit pointless because you don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah,
and you don't know how to
I
time
don't know
the
whether
intensity
to.
as well.
Yeah, I don't know whether to keep bowling it. I mean, I just bought off Amazon like a little net, not a cricket net, but just like a net to put by the hedge, because
Yeah.
I don't know whether to just keep bowling a little bit, because at our age, well over the 30s, you're still in your 30s, nearly 40.
Just yeah.
If we go, at 21, 22, if we went 8 weeks without bowling, it probably wouldn't be
Yeah.
an issue. But I just feel at my age, our age, if I go 6, 7 weeks without getting the load through the bones in the body,
Yeah.
I just don't know how I'll react when I want to get bowling again. And we know what anyone who plays cricket, that first game of pre-season or that first day in the field, whatever fitness you've done, it's going to hurt, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm sure that's the same with every sport. But yeah, I'm almost just trying to tick over as much as I can for when and if we get a nod this summer to get ready to sort of bowl up and train together as a group, that I don't feel way behind. Although, let's be honest, whatever anyone does, we know that it's going to take a few weeks to get anywhere near match fitness, because bowling's
Yeah.
such a unique thing.
Agreed. It is tough, and it's weird. Like for you as well, you've done a lot of work on your action and your run up recently in the last couple of years. So that must be hard, not being able to sort of keep that ticking over and keep up the good work that you've been doing.
Do you know what I'm scared of a little bit is I don't know if I've done it long enough. So what is it? It's April, so it's 14, 15 months really I've been working on that. So I don't think that's ingrained in my body yet. I don't think that's like naturally me. It's still every day I'm having to work a little bit on it. So I've got to be very conscious when I get back to it that I remember that last 14 months rather than the 12 years, 20 years previous, really.
Yeah.
I've just seen Josh do a little wave. He must have just come out of his Pilates. Have you joined his Pilates yet?
No, I've not. I've seen a lot of people doing it. It looks quite hard, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, we should give that a go.
Right. Well, it is Broad Week, so the England cricket each week are going to be focusing on a different player. It's your week.
When's Jimmy week?
I wondered if I don't know. Might not get one after this. So, what I wanted to ask you was, has it been nice to look back? Because we don't often get chance, because we're quite busy playing and touring and stuff. You don't often get a chance to look back over your career and your achievements and stuff like that. Has it been nice to see like your spells, your best spells, go up on Instagram and sort of reliving those moments?
It is, but it's a bit embarrassing as well, in a way. Like, I don't know, it caught me by surprise on Tuesday morning, I think it was, when the first one went up. It was like, it's Broad Week. I was like, where's this come from? What's going on? But yeah, I mean, it makes you remember some good times, like some fun times. But I mean, we've got the same attitude, haven't we? We don't really necessarily remember exact spells, but we remember those sort of moments that might swing a test match in our way. Or so actually sometimes one wicket is more vital than a 5 for or 6 for, isn't it? Because it might be that one wicket that flips the momentum towards our team. So it is great to look back at a few of those spells. It also gives you that frustration that I'm sure every person who plays sport gets, is why can't you do it every day? Like, what makes you be able to bowl and get 5 for one day and then 1 for 70 the next day? It's just, I suppose that's human nature, really. But when you're watching wickets, it makes you want to take more and more regularly, doesn't it? It
does. I just saw Joss ask a question: what's your best wicket ever? And that's, a few people have written in with questions, and that's been a popular question, sort of, what's your favourite spell? So Andrea wrote in, which is your favourite spell? We've also got, what's your favourite Ashes series? So I think we could cover that in the next couple of minutes. What out of the spells that you've seen on Instagram, which is your favourite one? And do you have a particular wicket in those spells that you really like and like to look back on?
I think my favourite spell, my most memorable spell, because it was my home ground of Trent Bridge. It was in a weekend that we retained the Ashes at Trent Bridge. In 2015 was the 8:15, the first morning of the 4th test. It would be classed as probably my most memorable. I don't think it was... I probably look back at the Wanderers in Johannesburg 2016 as a spell that probably means a little bit more to me, because I think wickets abroad probably, they're harder to come by because of the conditions that you're not grown up on. The Wanderers, you just feel like you're in South Africa's backyard properly. I mean, everything at Trent Bridge was set for me. I've had thousands of overs there. I'm so used to the ground. I'm staying at home. I feel comfortable. I know everyone in the ground. The conditions were perfectly suited for bowling seam that morning. Whereas the Wanderers was intimidating, feisty, packed out, and the game was very tight and on the line. So that, I think that those wickets and bowling South Africa out cheaply to seal the series there probably gives me the most satisfaction looking back on. Particular wicket, I think any wicket that you take that wins that test match. So the 10th wicket of the last innings always feels the most special because you've got 10 teammates and all the management staff and people in the change room celebrating and waiting, and everyone in the crowd waiting for that one moment. So I think having that chance to bowl with one wicket to go is awesome. I remember yours, obviously. It was the Oval, wasn't it, Shami, where you went past? Did you go past McGrath?
Yeah.
And it was the wicket that won us the Test match. Those sort of moments are awesome because you don't have to bowl another ball as well in that game.
Yeah, it's true. It's interesting about your spells. So my favourite spell of yours, the most memorable, is the 2009 Ashes at the Oval. So it was the 5th Test. It was, the series was on the line, the game's on the line, and that for me, that was a match-winning spell. So that for me probably is my favourite of yours, which is interesting hearing you say, like the Trent Bridge one. I was there for that the 8 for 15, not playing, but I was in the dressing room for that, and it was amazing to watch. But it was sort of the bowler-friendly conditions, and I felt like the Oval just tips it because of the match situation. It was the second innings of Australia's, and the pitch. It wasn't bowler-friendly conditions by any stretch of the imagination. So I just felt like that was probably for me the best I've seen you bowl, and sort of a match-winning spell. And
also, I think looking back to that, I had no experience of really any sort of success to draw back on in international cricket. So
yeah,
you know how important it is if you're bowling a really good spell or a bad spell, that you have a bit, like, you can look back and periods of your career and think, right, I've been in here before, I can do this, I can do that. I was 21, 22 years old, just holding the ball down the seam and lobbing it down there at that age. And I think that gave me the confidence and the belief that I could belong in that arena, because going into that Test match, I was the one being talked about to be left out. And if you remember, Graham Onions eventually got left out, which I thought was incredibly harsh on him because he was bowling beautifully, had really changed the game at Edgbaston a little bit and bowled nicely at Headingley, I think. So I felt lucky to get the opportunity to play. But it did a lot for me because it made me feel, I suppose it's like a batsman's first 100, isn't it? In a winning environment. It just did a lot for me to think, I can deliver on this stage. You know, that Australian team, Ponting, Hussey, Clark, Watson, North, it was a strong side, wasn't it? It just gave me the belief that I might be able to compete at international cricket.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I've got a question from Afshan Khan. What do you like and not like about each other?
Oh, good question. I think our biggest strength is we can have honest conversations. So if I'm feeling average one morning, or you're feeling average, or I'm feeling great in a spell, or I'm struggling in a spell, I know you've been through it all. You know, I've seen a lot of things in the game. We can pick up on each other's sort of feelings and movements in a game very quickly. One thing that I think is a great strength of ours, we're both very competitive people, naturally, in every sport we play. But I don't think we've ever been competitive against each other.
Yeah. On
the cricket field. Obviously, we have a golf tournament that we play each year, Broadbest Sanderson, that you hold the trophy at the minute, which is frustrating. But I think we've always gone with that attitude of, if we can get 10 wickets as quickly as possible as a bowling unit, we're up there drinking a cup of tea, watching the batsman bat, which is the dream for every bowler, isn't it? So I think in a competitive way in training, we spur each other on, but in a game environment, I'd like to think that we're always looking for the next wicket, whoever gets it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that is one of our strengths, and the communication. I think because we're mates, it kind of helps that we can talk honestly with each other, and then around the team as well, trying to help the team out. And it is interesting though that there's not really been that competitive edge on the cricket field, because obviously we are competitive in everything else that we do. But I think back to when I started, Gough and Caddick were extremely competitive with each other. They're just, their big driving force, both of them, I think, was to try and outdo the other one. So I think that's probably helped us as well, helped us and the team. We're not like that.
But I also think me fielding at mid-on while you're bowling and you doing the same while I bowling is actually brought us closer together, because the old school way is field at fine leg, give your cap to the umpire and bowl. There's no communication happening at all there. So the way we're communicating each through a spell, A, has helped us learn everything about each other's bowling. And B, has just kept some, how are we getting this next wicket? What's the plan? And actually, you can see us celebrate quite often, can't you? Like, you'll tell me to do something and bang, there's a wicket, and we're like, spot on. Because when you're actually bowling and you're sweating and you're frustrated or whatever, it's hard for the mind to think clearly. So it's so important to have different minds thinking in one direction.
Another question. This is Duzza has asked, who were your cricketing idols growing up?
It feels bad to say because not many English players, but I think as a youngster you're sort of influenced by winning teams, aren't you? So I used to love watching McGrath bowl, Sean Pollock, used to love watching him bowl. I spent quite a bit of time around county grounds as a young player, like with my dad playing and stuff. So Courtney Walsh, I used to love watch bowling. Lara to watch batting was just outrageous, the flair and the skill. Favourite English player, I'm lucky enough to play against him, was Trescothick, recently retired, but he's probably one of the hardest batsmen I've ever bowled at. I never really found a way to stop him scoring. That really annoying, run down to third man that looks like you might have beaten him on the outside edge, but it just goes for four. Yeah. He's probably one of the free scoring red ball cricketers I've bowled against that I've struggled with. And Graham Smith, I found an absolute nightmare. I sort of wish I could have bowled at him, having worked on my round the wicket stuff. Yeah. And tried to draw him to drive through extra cover. But for me, just over the wicket, trying to swing it into the stumps, hopeless.
Yeah, well, I had exactly the same problem when I first started. I think my first series against him was 2003. And all I could do then was swing the ball back in. I didn't have an outswinger to a left-hander. I couldn't wobble the ball across him. So I was just feeding his strength. And I just got so annoyed. And he just, even if you thought, right, I'll start the ball a bit wider outside of something, he still got it through the leg side. Yeah. I remember
and everyone used to go, oh, if he misses it, he's out.
Yeah, exactly. He never missed it.
Like Trotty, never missed it.
Matthew Hoggard got him once at the Wanderers and he fell flat on his face, LBW. But the rest of the time, he got 2 double hundreds in that series in 2003. Just impossible to bowl that. Hated it.
Just the thought that you were playing in 2003. It's 2020.
Yeah. Well, might still be playing 2023.
Was that the red streak?
Yeah. I think it was, yeah. All right, some more questions. Charlotte Cunliffe has asked the favourite game you've ever played.
Formula 1 2020. We're not talking about PlayStation games. I look back on the T20 World Cup final in Barbados against Australia, winning that as a very special moment, like England's first ever white ball trophy. I didn't have much influence on the game at all, really. Bowled 4 overs for 20 or something, and but obviously to win a World Cup was very special. But I've always, throughout my whole career, found so much more satisfaction with red ball victories. Don't know whether that's because of the time it takes. You have to work so hard for them. You need 8 or 9 of your players in an 11-a-side to to have good games in a test match. I think white ball cricket, 3 or 4 can win you the game. So I've always found a great satisfaction in sitting in the changing room after winning a test match. Favourite one, do you know what? Cape Town this year, New Year's Test was pretty special. Just for, I think the emotions on that last day went everywhere, didn't they? Obviously, you getting 5 for first innings, having come back from injury was awesome. Walking off at Cape Town then, with you holding the ball up, looking around, was like, wow, like what a stadium.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What support. Like one of my best mates walking off 5 for that is wicked. Then actually I was batting with Dom Sibley when he got to walk off 100 not out, which was so special as well. Like, it's one of those moments I can just get my head up and look at the support and just enjoy being there. And then obviously you hurt yourself on the last day, came back and bowled, didn't you? I knew you were in agony, which was horrible. But then the last hour, Stokesy bowled a phenomenal spell and it broke the game open. So that had everything as a test match I think you'd want it to have, which was awesome. I mean, Cape Town's got good memory. Stokesy's 200 there, 250 there was just outrageous as an innings. Hard to look past. I mean, Headingley this year was just a freakish game for what happened and the emotions of watching it. I mean, the last hour watching I suppose as a fan by then, but as a teammate was just so special to watch. I don't know I mean, there's been some brilliant moments. I always get drawn to that away wins for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think the same, because for me, Ash's 2010-11 winning at Sydney. I know you weren't there. That last Test match, having won in Australia 3-1, just really special. Sitting on the outfield, taking it all in, and you're sharing that moment with mates, and you feel like, especially at the end of the series, you feel like this is something that we've all done this together. Sharing that moment, it's something you have together for the rest of your life. And then when you meet up with these guys along, a few years later, you kind of just give them a nod of acknowledgement that you shared that moment together. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, there's more moments like being out there. Cookie's 200 not out at the MCG.
Yeah.
Being out there for his 200 and the Barmy Army singing Cookie's song, and I mean, I'm sure he won't mind us saying this now he's retired, but he was just burst into tears, didn't he, after walking off the pitch. Was pretty awesome. It's just those sort of little moments that you see teammates achieve brilliant things, because we see all the stuff that goes with cricket, all the missing of the families and all that sort of stuff that can add a little bit of extra pressure. But to see people like perform. I'd say the loudest stadium. Remember when David Warner got out on 99?
Yeah. And then it was
TC and Bolden Noble,
wasn't it? Yeah.
That was a moment where I thought, oh wow, this is proper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to actually just talk. We never sit down and just talk cricket, do we?
Not really.
It's quite good.
Found another question. I can't remember who it's from. It's quite a good one. Who is the bowler you fear the most when you bat?
I mean, he's a bit older now and retired, but Mitchell Johnson in 2013-14 was... I always look back at that, and we had some world-class players, didn't we? Like Cookie, KP, Belly, Trotty, Matty Pryor. World-class players that had dominated world cricket for 6-7 years, really. No one could really find an answer. It was so awkward, wasn't it? It was like a weird angle, ferociously quick, so accurate. And when we were getting out there to bat, he'd only bowled like 7 overs, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So the great thing about batting down the order when your batsmen score runs, and through that period, our batsmen were awesome, weren't they?
Yeah.
You're facing bowlers after 25 overs, and they're obviously a bit tired. But him,
yeah,
he was ferocious in that series. That was your get ready for a broken arm one, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. And I was ready for a broken arm every time I went out, to be honest. It wasn't pleasant at all. But yeah, there's that. I think it's interesting talking. You talk to fast bowlers about batting, and the bowlers they fear. It's always fast bowlers. Like you talk to some batsmen, and they're actually like, well, Muralitharan or Warne, or they actually. But for me, spinners, you're not going to get hit by a spinner, so you kind of.
And if you're in doubt, sweep.
Have a sweep, yeah. But it's just in my head. I've just got nightmares about fast bowlers. Like when I remember when I first started playing for England, when there was just one ball in a 50-over game, and it used to go really dark in the last 10 overs. You couldn't see it. I played early on. I played Shoaib Akhtar from Pakistan. Horrendous. We played in Pakistan under lights in, I think it was about 2005 or 6. Just couldn't see it. I had my eyes shut. I was just hoping he wasn't going to, just bowl at my stumps. I couldn't see it. And the other one was Brett Lee as well. Again, bowling at the death with a dark ball.
Reversing.
90, 95 miles an hour. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't fancy facing. I mean, Mark Wood and Joff have bowled some pretty tasty spells over the last year and a half as well, haven't they? Remember Woody at St. Lucia?
Yeah.
That was fast. But yeah, someone like Stokes's always like, he preferred to face Rabada than Darren Stevens.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like,
no. Yeah.
What have we been on? Half an hour, eh?
Yeah. You got a couple more questions?
Yeah, dive in.
I was just going to flip that question round, actually. Have you ever... there's obviously bowlers you fear if you bat. Are there any batsmen you fear when you bowl? Or have there been over your career?
Oh, yeah. Loads. Yeah. I think conditions play quite a big... have quite a big role in that.
Yeah.
Because obviously bowling conditions, you feel confident, you feel sort of, you're backing yourself in those conditions to nip one back through the gate or be able to move on towards the slips. But I mean, obviously there's white ball games like Adelaide Oval or, where you play on the edge of squares.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, this England white ball team, I'm sure there's bowlers around the world going,
yeah.
Jason, Roy and Bairstow start, so you might get one to nip back. You get one of them. Rooty comes in. Then you got Morgs, Butler, Stokes, Moeen. Like it's never ending, is it?
Frightening, yeah.
I think from when we started, the decades we started our career in, compared to now, there's always been brilliant players in every era who are powerful and can whack the ball, going back to like Viv Richards and all that.
Yeah.
And there's always but I think T20 has developed. You don't just have one or two players in an opposition team, maybe in 2000, that could do a lot of damage. You got 7 or 8. And if they play on flat pitches, that's why we've seen them in Trent Bridge. You've seen scores of 450. Like, it doesn't sound outrageous to think that a 50 overside's can get 500, does it?
Well, no, that was being talked about before the World Cup, wasn't it? Is the team going to get 500? Which it's absolutely ludicrous when you think about it, but it's probably not beyond the realms of possibility.
I tell you what was hard with our last World Cup, where it was only 4 men out in the last 10. Remember that? Because to people like Glenn Maxwell or AB, you couldn't. Joss, you couldn't defend both sides, so you couldn't just have long on and long off out, because you have to have both third man and fine leg up, so they could flick you, and then you bring mid off up to put fine leg back, and it can go. So I found that really tough. Five players out in the back end is crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, makes a massive difference. Well, last question, do you reckon? quite a few people have asked this. I don't know if they're asking me or you, but what are your plans once you retire? And have you any thoughts of when that will be?
To be honest, I'm someone who I don't like to give too much thought into that, because I've got a feeling that if I did set something in my mind, professional sport never really allows the perfect finish. Apart from, I mean, Cookie's an example that was amazing. But as bowlers, you know, we're going to get injured, we're going to get dropped, we're going to lose form, whatever. So I feel like if I looked at a target end, it might stop me improving. It might stop that like real hunger in me to drive forward. I don't think I could go until your age. I think there's a few reasons for that. I think your actions so smooth and looks a lot calmer on your body, whereas mine is a little bit more forceful through my body, I think. And you like with your wrist position, you can get a lot of skills out of particular conditions, swings, wobble seam. Your areas are immaculate. Mine's not. I rely on a lot of effort and, you know, force to try and get the batsman out with a little bit of working out. And I'd never want to get to that place where I'm bowling against a 19-year-old and they're going, I thought someone said he used to be a good bowler. I'd hate that. I'd prefer to go that little bit earlier than that little bit later. But I mean, I'm loving the environment at the minute. I love playing for England. Obviously, Chris Silver coming as coach is great for me, because I really liked him as a bowling coach. He helped change my action. So you always need those sort of things to spur you on, don't you? I suppose it's like football. If the manager changes, you don't know, do you? But I feel I still have a huge motivation at the moment to keep playing. But I think you just assess that year by year, don't you? And we've got that carrot dangling over us of Australia in Australia.
Yeah.
Which looks like an achievable carrot to grab.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think because obviously I'm closing down on age 38 in a couple of months' time. So obviously the question gets asked a lot about when you're going to retire. But for me, it's if I can see myself playing in the next year with it, you know, I think a big thing is like you say, that your standards. If your standards feel like they're dropping, then yes, you might consider finishing. But as long as my standards stay high, my fitness levels stay good, and my skills stay where I want them to be, and my speed stay pretty good, which they have been, then I think it's just as long as and that hunger as well, like you talk about, that the desire to keep playing, you need that. And I think as well, playing in a team where you think you can actually win series, and that's what we've got at the minute. We've got an exciting team. We've got a few young guys who are just starting out on their journey. We've got some more established guys, and then we've got two guys who've been around a long time. I think that it's nice to be in a part of that team where you feel like you can actually achieve something and go on to have success. So as long as you've got that drive, then I think why not carry on?
I'm with you. Ashes, Australia coming your way.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully coming our way.
Fingers crossed. Right, I think that's about it. It's been good. Nice to talk to you.
I look forward to hosting you when it's Jimmy Week. Can't
wait. I'm looking forward to seeing a few more of your wickets and spells during Broad Week on the England Cricket social channels.
Said with huge sarcasm, I feel.
No, I've really enjoyed it.
There wasn't like a tone of enjoyment in your voice there.
I've really enjoyed it because I remember this quite a lot of the time. I've been at the other end bowling, and the 7 for 44 at Lords. I loved that spell because we were bowling together for most of it. It just brings back so many great memories. So I'm actually looking. I meant it sincerely that I'm looking forward to seeing more of them.
Good. Well, hopefully it's Jimmy Week next week. Who would you choose? You're not going to have two bowlers back to back.
No, do
But
you know what? I don't. Is it just current players? Because I'd like to see Botham week or someone like that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Gooch week.
Gucci week.
Let's roll back the years. Anyway,
Yeah, that's
we'll
a
see.
good point. Yeah. All right. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for your time, mate, and thanks for everyone who's tuned in. I'll see you soon.
Speak soon.
Take care. Bye.